guys, we're back with another episode of Millennial Tones. What you guys are listening to was an instrumental I found off of the internet. It's called Harsh Love by Loyal to Freak Music. It's a website. I'll actually link and try to figure where I found this out and link it in the description. So I'm going to be trying to give you guys some stuff to listen to as like an intro before I start talking about stuff in more of these podcasts. Thank you guys for returning. If you guys are returning listeners, and if you guys are new listeners, we're going to be talking about some new stuff that's been happening in the industry, some business deals dealing with songwriting, some just major like labels and their business acumen with buying new companies and how publishing is changing, and also some new music as usual that I've either listened to or people have suggested to me over the past 2 weeks. So let's get into the podcast as I fade this out. Okay, so what we're going to start off with is, as always, we're going to talk about our daily wavelengths. So, since this has changed from a weekly to a bi-weekly podcast, there's a lot more music that I can talk about. So, what I've recently been listening to is an artist that I've listened to before, but she's recently released a new EP. It's called It's called Nostalgia 1990. It's on Spotify. It's also on iTunes. I think it's on all music platforms, to be honest. Her name is Ray LaCruz. She recently had an EP called DM Me, which was an EP, a 6-song EP. But the main songs off of that EP that I really loved were Muse, Wrong Impression, and The One. So if you guys have been looking at something I started on the Instagram page for the podcast, I've been starting something for Tuesdays called Tunes Tuesdays, where I kind of give you guys a sense of what I'm doing throughout the week to just be more interactive with you guys. So some of the songs, if you guys paid attention to that, I just started it. You'll hear some familiar names. But again, her name's Ray LaCruz. In this new EP, she has a lot more songs. And I really like this EP. I only listened to it about 2 times. I usually try to listen to EPs or albums at least 3 times to really get a gauge on if I really like the full album all the way through, or if I just like a specific part of the album more than another part of the album. So that's what I've been doing, trying pretty much just listening to stuff over and over again to try and see if what I can hear if I didn't hear certain aspects of it. But a certain song, I actually might have played it on for Tunes Tuesday, but I'm going to give you guys a sense of it again. There's a song called Show You Off, so I'm going to play that for a few seconds because I'm going to try and avoid copyright on this. But let me see. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to play this on Spotify. 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Excuse me. second. And then another song I played was Mine. It's like very like 90s theme. It actually has like some specific songs and artists that she's talking about throughout the song. It's a really good song, so I would suggest those two songs definitely out this album. Let Me Know is another good song as well. Uh, it's just a very good good R&B album. If you guys are into R&B, especially female R&B songs, uh, and I really believe she deserves her support because I really think she gives good content. Um, but one thing I do wish for just her next projects, what I've been listening to, I just wish she would use. She has like this rich. She has a darker voice in tone and timbre. Um, But I love to hear her use a little bit more of her upper range in the next EP. She's going to do another EP before she does an album. I love to just hear a little bit more of a lighter uh, tone throughout the thing because it can become, even though I like darker, I love females with like darker voices. That's what I love. Um, like people like singers like Brandy and Uh, Tiana Taylor. Tiana Taylor has that as well. She has like a really dark voice, especially when she hits like lower notes. I really appreciate when females can do that, uh, even more than high notes. But just hearing that differentiation and just would make it a little bit more dynamic for me. So sometimes that's my only like critique of what I've heard from these two listens of Nostalgia 1990. But again, just gonna be fixed if she does that, and it doesn't mean that I don't like it. It's just a suggestion. The next thing I've been listening to is an artist that you guys probably have heard me talk about again from Tunes Tuesday, but even before that, I've been talking about Jade Nova for a while. She's was a background singer for various artists throughout her career. She's had cover videos on YouTube that have sprung gave her a lot of views and got her a lot of notoriety on YouTube because she's just amazing. I love her voice; it's very angelic, very polished. Um, so it's great to see her having a full album with just her own music, um, and just literally she only has one feature on this whole album, so it's pretty much just her and her giving her essence throughout this whole album. The album is called All Blue. You probably have and the single is called All Blue. But my favorite few songs, and then this is still my first listen. I haven't gotten through all of the album yet. I listened to specific songs first, just to get like a feel of what the songs were. So I listened to All Blue, but I already liked that song. So I went to the second single called Cosmic Love. It's more like it's more of it's more like a uh, sensual, rhythmic, atmospheric kind of uh, love song, which makes sense because it's called Cosmic Love. So I really like the title, and then I like the lyrical content behind it. Another song I really like is Bulletproof with her and Kevin Ross. Kevin Ross is another R&B singer that I really am appreciative of. Who's recently come out probably last year. Um, and I listened to his album. The name of the album is escaping me, but he's also on all music platforms. If you guys want to check him out, I love his voice as well, and their voices just blend together very well throughout the song. And another song is called Next to You. This song is very dynamic vocally. It's very um, demanding vocally, I can tell, and she does it with like no hesitation at all throughout the song, and I really appreciate it. Um, so I would check these two women out, Rayla Cruz and then Jay Nova, for these two albums. If you guys are like R&B fans, you guys know I'm more of an R&B type of guy. So I usually stay in the realm of like jazzy R&B soul type of music, and then sometimes I'll drift over into hip hop. But that's not usually where I necessarily go. Another artist that I've been listening to, his I recently found him. This is not a new song for him. He's been out for a while. Um, but hold on, let me get to this. The song Navajo by him is a really good song, and this Navajo actually came out in 2017, so uh, I'm a little late on it, but this is a very great song. He also produces. The artist's name is Masego. He's a producer uh, as well, and he's an instrumentalist. So he's very talented. And I've recently listened to his other song called um, Tadao, which is with him and FKJ, and that's like a group duo with him and another producer and musician that he's with. That's a good song as well. And then you have another song that recently came out by him, which is called Lady Lady. That's a newer song that I need to check out, but that's a new single if you guys are looking for something new. If you guys are fans of him already, but his name is Masego. And those songs I'll uh, I'll try to remember to link all these songs in the description so you guys can check them out more easily. Um, Instead of me just talking about it, I think it's going to be better for you guys. So I'll try to do that in the description later. There was another person I was listening to that I think I didn't talk about. Okay, I think that was it. Oh wait, no. Okay, now I remember. Um, another, actually two more artists now that I think about it, because it's been 2 weeks, so I'm forgetting some stuff. But an artist that I've been listening to for a long time. His name is Gallant. You guys will be familiar with his songs "Weight in Gold." "Open Up" is his like biggest single that you guys will most likely be familiar with, and then his song with "Skipping Stones" with Jhené Aiko. Um, and then he has recently released some new songs. One is called "Gentleman." I really love "Gentleman." Another song with him. He's featured on a song with Naya, who's another artist that I really appreciate. That song that he's featured on with her is a really great song. Um, has a very good, like, very soul aspect to it that they bring to the song. But the newest single is called "Doesn't Matter," and I really love this song. It's kind of reminiscent. It gives me the feel of. It reminds me slightly of "Open Up," just like the just the delivery. But the lyrics, I really like the lyrics. And it's a little bit more poppy than um, "Open Up" for me. So I really like him. And there's also a remix with "Doesn't Matter" with A$AP Ferg. I like the original with just him better than the remix. And also, you guys can check out some of these videos that he's recently posted. He has a video for "Doesn't Matter." I believe both. Yeah, he has a video for both versions of "Doesn't Matter," and he has a thing for "Open Up" and "Weight in Gold." You can just search Gallant in YouTube and it should pop up. And he's on a tour called Too Good to Be. Yes, Too Good to Be tour. Uh, if you guys are interested, he's going to be in Philadelphia October 7th, 27th. I'm looking at this on Spotify. If you guys are wondering how I can see that, um, and that's on Saturday, 8:30 p.m. in Philadelphia, October 27th. If you guys are interested in this artist, um, I'm gonna try and see if I can actually go because I'm really um, fond of his music. And then he's going to be with Jamila Woods, who I'm also a fan of. Um, I need to catch up on more of her music, but the stuff I've heard I really like by her. The last person for the Daily Wavelengths is Taylor Bennett. Um, Taylor Bennett is Childish Gambino. No, what the heck? My brain is so stupid. Wow. Chance the Rapper. That's his brother. If I can speak and think at the same time. So Taylor Bennett, he has an album called Be Yourself. He is part of the LGBT. He came out as bisexual. Um, his cover art actually has the rainbow flag for yourself, which I really appreciate and thought was interesting. Um, and he's actually recently become a father, and he did a great interview with Sway in the morning, talking about being a father that happens to actually be bisexual and the intersectionalities and stuff like that that goes into it of being a father. So if you guys want to check that out, it's an interesting thing to look at and hear. If you guys are interested, and I really do like this album. It's very short. Well, it's an EP, so I really appreciate what he did. Be Yourself. I really like Be Yourself. And Better Than You've Ever Been is a really good song as well. And there's another. Oh yes, Everything I Can't Handle is another good song as well. Um, so check this out. It's a short EP, but it goes by fast. But I think it's a good listen. You'll get done with it um, in like 20 minutes. So take a chance to listen to that. I think you guys will like that. If um, they're very him and his brother are very similar, but they're very different at the same time, which I really appreciate. But also check that out. But that's gonna be it for my daily wavelengths this week. So what we're gonna go on to is now some of these topics that have been going on in the music world. Let me open this stuff up for a second. 1 second. And then before I leave, I'm gonna talk about a song that I recently found. I forgot one song, but I'll put that in later. And I'll talk about that later before we go. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about first? Can you hurry up? Thanks. No wonders if having a computer. This is what happens when you have too much stuff on your computer. At the same time. Okay, so as long as I'm not going to keep as since this is taking a while to load up. I don't know why it's taking so long. But I'll talk about that song that we're gonna talk about later. So, it's called "Wake Up." There's actually a Twitch channel that I've been listening to. The person has like a night radio station show that he does like late at night for like an hour. I'm actually a new follower of him. His name is Excuse my annoying phone. Uh, but this artist came up and it sounded very familiar to me, um, but only because of one artist that was featured on this song. It's called "Wake Up," and her name is Lorena May. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Um, but the song's called "Wake Up" and it's on SoundCloud. So search Lorena May. And it should pop up. And this song features Ro James. Ro James is another artist that has recently came out uh, with his album called El Dorado, which is a great album. He's very, you can tell he's influenced by Prince, and Prince is one of his biggest inspirations. He has a really, he has like a very rock based voice with his runs and just how he phrases, which I really appreciate. Something different in R&B. Um, I like to hear like people differentiate themselves. So it was very easy for me to know that it was Ro James. That's why I said it sounds so familiar when I first heard the song, and I was wondering why it sounded so familiar. But when I looked on SoundCloud, after the person I was watching on Twitch linked it to me, excuse me, I was like, oh, so it's Ro James on here. That's why it sounds so familiar. So check that one out if you guys have a chance. I think you guys would like that song as well. Uh, and also check out some of these SoundCloud artists that don't get enough time and representation. I don't know why. So that's something you guys should check out. Okay, so now that this is working, it has been pulled up. So Stingray sends. This is a title that I found on Billboard.com under the business tab, business section of Billboard. So Stingray sends Music Choice a $120 million offer. Stingray is like a Canadian digital platform who has recently made an unsolicited offer to buy U.S.-based TV platform Music Choice for $120 million. The bid was presented to Music Choice Management and its consortium of owners, including cable giants Comcast, Carter, and Cox, as well as EMI, Microsoft, Motorola, and Sony. The offer, which is peppered with vendor-friendly terms and conditions meant to smoothen a transaction with its longtime rival, is good until August 31st and is currently under review by Music Choice stakeholders. The company said Stingray was unsuccessful in its two previous attempts to buy Music Choice in 2013 and again in 2015, but now believes it's the right time to be joining forces. Um, This is very interesting because it's talking about like two like big giants with I don't know if you guys have Comcast or if you guys have like uh what's the like Direct TV and stuff like that. So mostly I've been listening to like Music Choice as a kid since we've pretty much had Comcast all my life since I've been watching TV. So that was like my main except for YouTube uh because I didn't have a laptop as a young kid. So I usually had to use the big computer, but my mom usually had to do like her paperwork for school because she's a teacher, so she would be doing like her schoolwork. So I would have to wait, but I would go into another room and usually watch music videos, and then I would be dancing in front of the music videos, trying to learn the choreography um, from the artist I was watching. It was usually either like Sierra was on, then Chris Brown came on, then Usher song came on, and there was like different stations. There's like a R&B soul station for it, where they just played music, and then there was like a music video section as well. So I would be on the music video section, then transfer on to like just the audio version of Music Choice. So it's interesting because Stingray was something I found out later, and this is more like Stingray from what I've read up about it. It was more of a channel where it was like showcasing more of the the live performances, like the concerts. So we'll have like performances from the concerts that will be playing. So I found that later. Um, But it's interesting to see, especially read that Stingray tried to acquire Music Choice 2 times already, and now they're trying to do it again. So I'm not. It'll be great to see two uh, two people them join forces because you can add what Music Choice has already been doing with music videos, and then the audio thing, which is always on, it never goes off. And then you have like concerts being streamed to Stingray, so that will bring like the more concert aspect of um, music listening and live music to Music Choice. So that will bring like live music listeners to Music Choice. So that will open up their brand. So I think this is a good. Uh, this will be a good business deal for Music Choice if they did, just be based off of building a brand and expanding their brand uh, with music listeners. So I think that's a good business move, in my opinion. As I talked about before in the intro, that we're going to be talking about. So, recently there has been an agreement between songwriters. Forgot to turn my sound off. Okay, so and then there has been like a resistance from Latin American artists. So let's talk about this for 1 second. Okay, so amid the Trump administration's border separation policy and the families that has affected, these artists are speaking up about what can be done. And the title of this article is "Voices of the Latin American Resistance." Artists speak out on immigration reform. As you guys know, if you guys have been paying attention to the news, we've been having this huge conversation about immigration reform. We found out that and seen on video and heard stories about even people that are part of um, ICE have. There was an incident with somebody that was molesting children that were in these camps. I think of them as concentration camps because they're literally fenced in, like they're caged animals, like you would cage in cows and stuff like that before you where you feed them and then slaughter them for us to eat for beef and stuff like that. So that's what I looked at it as, and that's how I feel about it. So it's interesting to see that, and it's interesting, and I like to see that these artists are giving their voices to this resistance. But the members this uh, of this resistance. The name is. Hold on 1 second. I'm trying to get everybody's name in here. So, um, one name is Victoria Mala. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that right. Who was born in Mexico City, has lived in the U.S. for 12 years, and is a U.S. citizen. Nacho is 30. Is U.S. is in the U.S. for 8 years. Is not allowed in his native Venezuela because he's a vocal critic of the country's regime. Hannah Perez Mosa, who uh, is a bilingual sisters and members of the pop duo Haash, born in Louisiana, lived most of their lives in Mexico City. Eric Brian Colon was a member of CNCO. Moved from Cuba to the U.S. with his mother and sister in 2012. Christopher Velez, member of CNCO, born in New Jersey, grew up in Ecuador. Um, and it goes on to say many artists and entertainers have been very critical of the policy separating families from the border, but Latin artists have not been as vocal and very few participated in the protest marches. Why do you think this? So it goes on some of these people that I just talked about, the names that I listed. So Nacho, he says, I believe some Latin artists in the U.S. are still not convinced of the power our voices wield, and because we're not convinced, we stay quiet. We'll do a few things, but we don't feel we have the same impact as an American artist, or at least not the same impact on the American public. Then La Mala continues on saying many Latins are also afraid to speak to tell their stories because it's such a controversial matter and they don't want to be scrutinized to expose themselves to someone saying, let me see how you got here and what you do. Then Mosa comes in as well and says, Hannah and I, as U.S. citizens and with an American family, has spoken out about it and are very firm in our posture because our fans are Latin. We have their backs 100%. And Hannah Mosa comes back and says, and we are speaking for them. It all starts adding up. The order to reunify families happened because we did our part. So it's good to see uh, people speaking out about their communities, and I don't think that it should just be um, the Latin American community that's talking about this. I think that everybody should be talking about this. It should be an issue that everybody goes against. And to be honest, I believe that immigration reform is important. Um, Not just for, again, the Latin community, but it affects other communities as well. Especially, there's a lot of people that come from the islands that have migrated from their various countries to come to America for their stake for the American dream and trying to build, excuse me, trying to build a better life for their children and stuff like that, who will come in trying to build a better life. So I just think that we need to just do better. Everything, there's always a way to make things better, to make things easier for everybody to coexist. So again, it's good to hear them defending their community and trying to uplift their community, to speak about the issues and trying to change things for the betterment of everybody. So I really appreciate that. Um, so the next topic I'm going to talk about that has recently come up as it's loading up. Excuse me. So this is good news for songwriters. Uh, when it comes to a lot of things. So the title of this, again, this is another article I found on Billboard. It's called song. Its title is Songwriter Groups Reach Compromise with SESAC. Harry Fox over Music Modernization Act. So the vicious infighting between SESAC, Harry Fox agency owner Blackstone on one side and two songwriter organizations on the other has ended with a compromise that sees that the performance rights organizations, which is the acronym for that, is PROS, now giving unconditional support for the Music Modernization Act from superstar X to Jaguar artists and all kinds of music composers in between. Songwriters all across the U.S. have been tweeting up a storm for the last 10 days, accusing Blackstone of trying to introduce a change into the law that, in the songwriters' view, could potentially derail it. The songwriters were supporting the two songwriter organizations, NSAI and SONA, who called Blackstone out. But Blackstone's lobbying clout resulted in senators, particularly those with reservations about how the MMA could impact competition, deciding to push all parties to reach a compromise. And that compromise announced on August 2nd the proposed collective that will be built to administer the blanket mechanical license that the legislation will create will now be limited to only administering mechanical licenses. And if you guys don't know, licenses is like what is how long something can stay on. Like if you guys look for instrumentals, like the instrumental I was looking at before, you can actually buy this instrumental, but you can also there's some instrumentals you can buy, some instrumentals that you can use on certain platforms, but you have to buy a license for you to use their music. So there's usually like either a monthly payment that you use, a yearly payment for you to get all the content without having to buy a license. But this is giving you the rights and privileges of using whatever you pick or buy to be in your own content. So it's pretty much giving people credit for what they've done. Uh, and especially in this modern age, it doesn't always go that way. People use people's stuff, and then people don't get the money that they deserve. People aren't paying for their licenses and stuff like that. So this is a good thing for that. And going into the article a little bit more, so it says previously the legislations allowed the proposed collective to compete to administer direct deals for sync, performance, and lyric licensing. By limiting the collective to administering the compulsory mechanical license, the compromise provides more opportunities for private companies like CSEX, HEFA, and Music Reports to sign that type of business. It also allows the private companies to compete with the collective to administer mechanical license and direct deals between the publishers and the digital service. So I'm guessing it's talking about publishing companies for like big companies like major labels. There's like other like side publishing companies, and also digital services like Spotify, YouTube, and stuff like that for people to get compensated for their work. But I really am happy to see that there's been a compromise between these two companies, CSEC, and then these two songwriters, because I believe somebody that writes their own music and then has friends that have done music and write their own music and have produced some great stuff. There are up and coming artists. It's really important that people get what they deserve and get paid for what they have put into the work, because it takes a long time to get a song together. It takes a lot of intricate stuff. You got to figure out your vision for the song. You got to figure out how the music is going to help you convey the lyrics that you're bringing to the song. You have to figure out how you're going to vocally perform or produce a song. It's very intricate stuff. So certain songwriters usually don't get the kind of I don't think songwriters and producers, in my opinion, don't get enough respect for what they do. In my opinion, it's usually just the people that are out front performing that people give the more clout and the more representation and the more appreciation for. But you have to give the appreciation to people that are writing people's songs and producing these songs as well. So that's another good article that I wanted to talk about. The last article we're going to talk about, because I don't want this to get too long, is, hold on for 1 second, let me just make sure I'm looking at my time. Okay, because I'm going to take a break and then talk about some other stuff. So before we take this break, talk about this last article for a second. Okay, so this is DSR raises $185 million, enters partnership with Saudi Arabia-based Rotana. Okay, so that's the title of this article. Again, this is another article on Billboard. Funding from new and existing investors raises streaming services valuation to around $1.16 billion. DSR has raised, like I said in the title, $185 million from both new and existing investors. The Paris-based streaming service announced on Thursday, August 2nd, this funding has raised the valuation of the company to around $1.16 billion, as I previously stated. This round of investors includes Kingdom Holding Company, Rotana Group, Access Industries, Orange, and Lobo France. DSR has also entered into an exclusive long-term partnership with Rotana, a media leader in the Middle East, to distribute the Saudi Arabia-based company's audio and visual content in the Middle East and North Africa. This is coming. Let's see. From the CEO of DSer, I'm Hans Holger. I would like to welcome our new shareholders, KHC and Rotana, to DSer, and I'm excited to work with them to take DSer to the next level. And again, that was the CEO, Hans Holger Albrecht. I think that's how you pronounce it. The new funding enables us both to accelerate our expansion in fast-growing international music markets and strengthen our positions in key territories. The exclusive long-term distribution agreement also provides us with a unique opportunity to build future market leader positions in exciting markets. Um, and then coming from the head and CEO of Rotana Audio, he added, Rotana is the world's premier provider of award-winning Arabic music. We are now expanding our reach and distribution by partnering with DSR, a leading global digital music streaming service, to deliver our high-quality music content to ever-growing global listenership in the Middle East, North Africa, and other regions around the world. While this agreement is mutually beneficial to both companies, Rotana's award-winning artists will reap the most benefit from this exciting and expanding global platform. So it's good to see that people are coming together and helping each other grow. I like to see that in the music industry. And DSer is a new program, so I'm not really familiar with DSer, but I know I've seen people using DSer in like their social media for when they release new music, that people have been putting stuff on DSer. Just to give, since it is more of a like world music platform, so it's more global, just like Spotify and YouTube is global and stuff like that. So it's interesting to see these two companies come together, and it's going to be interesting to see what comes out of this, especially if the more like Middle Eastern music starts to come over and expand to North American um, North American audiences or like European audiences, to see how that's going to reflect. So I'm going to take a short break, and then I'm going to just talk to you guys for a second about some in real life stuff. So again, thank you guys for listening, and I'm going to be back in a few seconds. So bye, guys. Hey guys, I'm back. So, like I said, we're going to talk about some in real life stuff. So, the last 2 weeks, it's kind of been slow. But I've decided that this year I'm going to face my fears, and I've talked to you guys about this before, how I've been fearful of certain things, um, but I'm going to be trying to complete an EP. I don't know how long the EP is. I'm not going to even like think about the EP. When it comes to length, I'm just going to try and see what comes out. I'm trying to face my fears and just get over them and just create something, because I believe that everybody deserves it, and I just want to be a little bit selfish for once. Like I try my best to support all my friends in their endeavors, be it either interviewing them to get their content out, going to their shows and stuff like that. So I'm trying to be a little bit selfish for once and trying to do something for myself. Uh, so it's going to be a journey. It's going to be something. You guys will be probably the first ones to hear it. I'll probably showcase some of my music on here when I finally figure out um, where I'm going for the EP. But that's on my plans. I'm starting to write and listen to like some uh, instrumentals to just get my just to get used to songwriting again. Just wet my palate and get my brain working. Uh, so that's what I've been doing. Uh, and also, I recently had a photo shoot with one of my friends. Her name is Natasha Wilson. You guys need to check her out and look at some of her stuff. Check her out at it's Natto Wilson. Uh, if you guys want to check out her art, so I photographed by her. I also took some pictures of her as well. because she taught me how to use her camera. And then I was doing modeling with one of my friends. Her name is Nina Crowder, who's been one of my best friends since kindergarten. Uh, so it was just pretty much just fun with your friends, just taking some pictures and having fun. Um, I'll showcase most of the photos when they come out. Finally, when they're done being edited, I'll post them on the social media page, my personal, and the podcast Instagram, so you guys to check out. I think it's going to be fun. Just see me in a different element, trying to break out and do some new stuff instead of just being on YouTube and doing this podcast. So I'm trying to break out of my shell. That's pretty much what this whole thing for in real life is about. Trying to break down the shell and trying to be a little bit more open and intimate with you guys. And also keep checking out. I've recently, like I said before, I recently started something on YouTube, on Instagram, sorry, where I am doing stuff for Thursdays, which is called Tunes. It's called, how I recently said it. It was Tunes Tuesday, but I made it and called it Tunes Day, just so it's easier. And I have like a hashtag where people can talk about the music that they've been listening to in the comment section. But using that hashtag will help me out a lot, so I can see what you guys are listening to. I'm still trying to figure out how to best spell the hashtag, because I saw when I recently did it that it's already been a tag before, so I'm trying to make it specifically for this podcast. So the tag might change, so just pay attention to at Millennial Tones Podcast for any content changes. I'll try to keep you guys updated for that. I'm also going to I'm going to try my best next week to start doing stuff for Thursdays as well, because I want to do some stuff for Thursdays, and that's going to be called what I'm calling it is called Nostalgia Thursday, but I'm trying to figure out a creative title for a hashtag for it. So also stay tuned for that. So that's going to be coming out next week. So stay tuned for Tuesdays for Tuesdays, and then Nostalgia Thursdays, and whatever hashtag I blend it into. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you guys watching this. If you guys are new listeners, I really appreciate it. Hopefully I entertained you. Hopefully you got some good music to listen to. Leave any suggestions for what you guys would like me to fix about the podcast to make it more entertaining. I really appreciate your input. If you guys are existing return listeners, thank you guys again for listening. I really appreciate you guys. And with that, welcome to the wavelength. Be safe, be good to yourselves, be good to others, and I'll see you guys in the next episode in 2 weeks. All right, bye guys.